2019, Asia Pacific and Japan. This room is Unit 4403, one of the track 4 e-fraud threat and law enforcement. The session ID is FLE002. The session title is API Security Exposure for Gift Card Fraud, a 14-year-old's guide. Could you see you're in the right room? Okay, let's get started. We have a guest speaker here. Please welcome Tammy Deshmak.
Thanks so much for the introduction. Hope everyone is excited as I am to present for the presentation today. To start, a little bit about me. I'm in 9th grade and I'm entering sophomore year. I'm a student at Amador Valley High School and I live in Pleasanton. I taught myself how to code at age 12 and I started off with Python and JavaScript. I helped find vulnerabilities for Chipotle, Spotify, NCR, and Jamba Juice. I got into finding out vulnerabilities when I started developing Chrome extensions for buying high-demand items. And I learned how vulnerable websites can be. I'm a participant in HackerOne and I got to the platinum tier for US Cyber Patriot. My GitHub username is today with the 4 for the day. In this talk, I will talk about securing the API for gift cards and services. You guys will learn how hackers can exploit vulnerabilities, and you guys can apply the learnings by using the best practices to secure APIs and learn new tools and techniques. You guys will understand how hackers can exploit vulnerabilities by using credential stuffing, SQL injection, and web scraping. You can use these techniques to protect by implementing CAPTCHAs, rate limiting, and limiting public use, VPN access, and increasing verifications. To start, what is a gift card or cash card? A gift card, also known as a gift certificate in North America, or a gift voucher or gift token in the UK, is a prepaid stored value money card. It's usually issued by a retailer or bank, and is to be used as an alternative to cash for purchases within a particular store or related businesses. What is a subscription account? A subscription account is a business model in which a customer must pay a recurring price at regular intervals for access to a product or service. Some of the biggest mistakes that companies make with gift cards and subscription accounts are having gift cards with clear pattern of gift card numbers, so it's easy to guess the gift card number. This would be something with a simple algorithm where only the last 6 digits change and no PIN is required to check the balance. Overlooking the importance of securing the APIs is a big flaw. Companies have it so that the websites are the most secure and the mobile APIs are the least secure. This would mean that CAPTCHAs and rate limiting aren't implemented to the best of their ability, meaning that for every request to the mobile API, it doesn't have any rate limiting, so you can just send any number of requests you want in any given amount of time. Also, GCAPTCHA response isn't needed for every request that is made. Allowing VPNs and public proxies to access a website without further verification is a big flaw, because if you don't know which IPs are suspicious, then it's just going to let more bot activity come, since most of the credential stuffing attacks utilize public proxies for VPNs. And this also ties into suspicious login activity not being reported. Because if the company knows which IPs are suspicious and they log into a user's account and it's not reported, then the user won't know when their account is being accessed by an attacker. Why are gift card subscription accounts so vulnerable? Gift cards are vulnerable due to how they're generated and how balance checks are handled. This is since some companies need to have registers in the store just to check the balance, and for that, a CAPTCHA can't be solved when the balance needs to be checked. And also, they don't require a PIN for the balance to be checked. And they already have simple algorithms. So you only need to have a couple of one gift card number, and have a list with only the last 6 digits changing to get a list of valid gift cards. For subscription accounts, they're vulnerable from little to no protection from credential stuffing attacks. And on websites with old websites with recycled passwords. How did I find out about the vulnerabilities? I find out about the vulnerabilities while learning about web development and how to secure web applications to the best of my ability, where I found some security holes. I learned that the mobile API was not as secure as the browser, and I learned that mobile APIs typically do not have as much rate limiting as a web application do. A credential stuffing attack is extremely easy to do on most websites, so it's not about stopping the attack in the first place, it's about making it harder to do and slowing down the attacker. My intentions were to learn, and I found a way for companies to help fight fraud. The main method used by hackers to gain access to users' accounts is credential stuffing, but web scraping and SQL injection are used to gain access to the accounts. You guys may be asking, what is credential stuffing? Credential stuffing is the automated injection of breached username and password pairs in order to fraudulently gain access to user accounts. This is like a brute force attack, except you're not guessing the password. You already know the password since they're recycled passwords from another server, which is compromised. Large numbers of spilled credentials are automatically entered into websites until they are potentially matched into an existing account, which the attacker can then hijack for their own purposes. How does credential stuffing work? The first step in credential stuffing is to obtain your credentials. The easiest way to do that is to go on a dedicated forum such as null.to, or to use pastebin or dedicated forums using web scraping. The main way to get credentials in the first place is to use SQL Injection. And this is to get a more private combo list or more private username and password list. Combo lists are formatted as user pass and email pass. And the type of format changes for every website you're trying to attack, since some websites need a username and a password, and not an email and password to log in. The second step is to obtain proxies, which is extremely optional. It depends on the website you're trying to attack. Some websites don't require proxies since they don't have any rate limiting. So you can just use no proxy and send as many requests as you want in any amount of time. In other cases, you can't send as many requests since you'll get errors, since they recognize that credential stuffing is a problem, and they'll rate limit you, and you'll get errors. Third step is to create or use an existing config for the website. And this will be covered in the demo, as I'm going to create a config for a simple file sharing website. The three main ways to prevent credential stuffing are rate limiting, CAPTCHAs, and two-step verification. For rate limiting, you can use a commercial or open source software. You can build it in the application logic. For CAPTCHAs, you want us to use something like reCAPTCHA v3 or something new that's not just a simple text CAPTCHA, as these can be easily automated with the program, and you can use online services to solve them. And the last step is to use two-step verification, which will always work, since if an attacker even gains access to the account, they'll need access to the victim's phone to log in. To perform SQL injection, a program such as SQL Dumper can be used. Search terms referred to as dorks are used, and they're used to find vulnerable URLs on search engines, such as Google and Bing. And then to create a dork, you would use something like in URL and a specific text. And it's used to find old versions of SQL running on websites, so you can dump the database. Because search engines are aware of the issue, attackers use VPN and proxies to prevent rate limiting. If the search engine recognizes that suspicious activity is there, they will force you to solve a CAPTCHA before you can do any more searches. And once the URLs have been collected in the program checks them for vulnerabilities. And the attacker can dump the emails, usernames, and passwords from the database, which is hashed. So it's more effort to do an SQL injection attack than just to do a simple web scraping attack. The easiest way to obtain credentials is web scraping. Credentials can be found publicly on the web extremely easily. And the main websites used to scrape links are Google, Pastebin, and Bing. Programs such as Slayer Leech are utilized using keywords, which are shown in visual above. And links are scraped from keywords, and the program parses whatever format is selected. User pass, email pass, or whatever is selected within the program. The three main tools for credential stuffing are SentryMBA, Sniper, and OpenBullet. Although there are many other programs, these three programs are the most important ones, and they differ very slightly. SentryMBA is the original program for credential stuffing, and it was one of the first created. It's the most popular, but it's also kind of old and doesn't have as many features. Sniper costs money, but it also has some of the most features. It has a public and private repository for configs built in, meaning you never have to search for configs. All of them are taken from the repository, which is in the cloud, and the community can add configs to and contribute. It has a built-in proxy scraper and leecher, meaning that you don't have to go to another program just to get public proxies to perform the attack. OpenBullet is a program we're going to be using in the demo, and it can use Selenium, and it is a simple way of making configs. SQL Dumper is the main program for SQL injection. It has many different versions, but it's a primarily used program for SQL injection. Now for the demo. For the demo, I'm going to be making a simple config for a file sharing website. I'm going to start by opening OpenBullet. In OpenBullet, I can create a new config. I'm just going to name it demo. The website I'm going to be making config for is a non file, which is just a simple website with a simple login feature. We can start by opening Fiddler to see how the website works and what kind of requests it's making. What I want to do here is I want to do an invalid login just to see what kind of data it needs for every request. And what I can do is I can use Fiddler, or if you guys don't have it or are on Mac, you can do like in Chrome, you can look at the network, you can see it similarly too. It's going to show the same info, but I just like how Fiddler's formatted better. Okay, so if I look at Fiddler, I can look at what's given for the request. So if I look at web forms, it has a username, password, and a token. So a token is something that I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's parsed. So what I can do is I can copy that. I can do Control F. And what Fiddler is going to do right now, it's going to search for all the sessions for the token. So if I paste that in there, I can find the sessions. So I think it didn't capture when I first logged into the website. If I open the website again, it should pass the token again. So it gave the same error. So I can look at the token again. So I can copy that and I can search for it. And as you can see here, when I first access the website, it should be there. So I do Control F, I can search for the token, and it's usually parsed somewhere in the first response. So right here, there's a hidden value called token. And if I open the program, I can set up a request. The first request I want to make is to the website, so I can get all the data and all the cookies. If I look here, I can see what kind of request was made. It's a GET request, so I want to copy the URL. And I want to put it in the program. Just running it, and if it's working correctly, it should log it right here. As you can see here, it executed the parse block and successfully got the token. Next, what I want to do is I want to set it up so I can actually put in the credentials. I want the program to see the credentials through the program, and I want it to send the request correctly. So what I can do is I can look at when I sent the request, and I can look at what kind of request it was. It was a post request. So all I want to do is copy the URL and look at the syntax view right after. So right here in web forms, it's passing through the username, token, and the password. So these are the three things that change every time I send a request. So I can just copy this, and I can set up the variables within the program. What's great about OpenBoot is that it's open source, and it's also fully customizable. Meaning I can look through the program, and I can see how it's set up. If I go to settings and I go to environment, I can see that for every type of like data format, email credentials, and numeric URLs, has a different variable. So for credentials, it's username and password. So what I want to do is right at username, I want to declare it. So I can just put username. And for password, I can just put password. Because I already set up token, I pass it as a variable. All I have to put right here is just token. And it should work now correctly. If you look at the end of the program, it says the debugger ended with the status done. So what I want to do now is I want to set up failure and success keys. Meaning for every successful account, it'll give a specific response, and for every bad account, it'll give a failure response. So right here, I'm going to set it up. I want to set up key check, and I want to put a failure key and success key in the source. So all I have to do is just set it up like this, set this to failure, and then I want to look at the response when I got the invalid login. So I want to go here and look at where it said that. So as you can see on the actual website, it said invalid login, username and password, and that's only going to be given when I have an invalid login. So I'm going to copy that and put it in the program. Now I want to create a successful login so I can see what the response will be. So I can do that too right now. Just to clear up, I removed all the sessions. That's a great feature of Fiddler, and it makes it easier using Chrome for me. As soon as I logged in, I can see what kind of data was given. If I didn't set the auto redirect feature, the success key output would be redirecting to https anonfile.com. But since I set up auto redirect, I want to see the response as soon as I got to the next page. So I would search for something that would be only given if it was a successful login. If I look here, I can see stuff like the account info, stuff like that. So what I can do is I can copy something that would only be there if I was logged in. Okay, as I can see here, I see logout, so I'm going to set that as a success key. So it should work now. It should give back a response if it was a successful and invalid login. So as you can see here, at the end of the program, it says the debugger ended with the status failed. So that means the program is working correctly. If I want to test the programs, if I want to see what happens as soon as I give an invalid login, I can test that out too. Okay. I think it's saying it's invalid. I think I've missed it. So what I can do here is I can check to make sure, I can check the response to make sure I didn't mess up. So it should be right here. I can just search for logout to see if it's getting it correctly. So I found 0 matches. So that means there's something wrong with the data. Okay, I think the problem I did was I didn't set it to credentials, so it should work correctly now. And just to see if the program's working correctly, I can also look at the data that's being posted. So if I look right here in the request data, it should be right around here. So the post data is working correctly right now. I think before it just set the post data as username and password. So right here I can see it's working correctly because it's being given correctly. So I know it's working correctly now. This is just an example of a simple config, but with programs like Sniper, it gets a little more easy. You don't have to make any config since it's already implemented, as you can see here. One point I want to make about this speech, or this presentation, is that it's not easy to prevent a credential stuffing attack in the first place. It's only easy to prevent it from happening, making it easy to do. As you can see here in the program, you can see a bunch of companies in which you can perform a credential stuffing attack on. A lot of these companies are aware of the problem, so they're making it so that you need proxies to perform the attack. A lot of the times with companies that are really trying to prevent it, the attack will be super slow since it's hard to do. You might have to pay for proxies since they can tell which IP addresses are public and private. So within the program, you can also reach proxies and you can check them. For some companies, you can't even do credential stuffing attacks in the first place, which is why Sniper made it so that you can check for email access. Once you check for email access, you can get access to accounts that are hard to get. This would be websites such as PayPal or Coinbase, where it's really hard to perform a credential stuffing attack, or even take any money out. So within this program, what you can do is you can take a long list of credentials, and you just put it in there, and it'll search the email for certain keywords. So it'll search for these domains within the program, and it'll take back all the data from the email. So then the attacker can then see what kind of emails the user has. Also, you can create your own configs, and you can modify your combos within the tool, which is what makes it so easy to use. Also, you can run multiple configs at the same time, and that's what makes this so good. So you can just load this, and all you need to do is just read some proxies and check them, which is super simple to do, but I'm not going to do just for time's sake. Another easy way to get credentials is using something like Slayer Leecher. With Slayer Leecher, you don't even have to do anything. All you have to do is just run the program, and I'm going to use Sandbox just because I want to keep my computer safe. So all I need to do is just set this to default keywords, and literally all I have to do is just hit start, and it'll start scraping for links across the web. As you can see here, it's getting all the links, so all I have to do is just wait a couple seconds, and I can stop it whenever I want. As you can see, the program also filters the data, and it prevents any duplicate links from being there. So all I have to do is just hit grab, and I can pass it to the Leecher. Using the Leecher, I can choose what kind of data I want, and I can use custom regex too. So for this, all I want is the email and password combo. So all I have to do is just go to searcher, and I can click passive Leecher, and everything will be there. So I can just hit start, and it'll start getting credentials. And this requires no work, so I can just do this whenever I want. And I don't have to use SQL Injection because all I want is a public combo list for the time being. For the demo, I don't want to do an actual credential stuffing attack because it's against the law and you're not allowed to do it. But if I were to, all I would need to do is just load the credentials through here, just press start, and import proxies. It'd be super easy to do. And I can also do 4 configs at a time. It would be very little load on the CPU, just since it's not a very CPU intensive task. Okay, you guys are probably asking yourself how you can fix the problem. The 2 easiest ways to fix the problem, and the 2 easiest ways to make it harder for companies to do this, is to implement CAPTCHAs. For the CAPTCHAs, you want to implement something like reCAPTCHA v3 because it's the best CAPTCHA thing. And it also, when attackers do credential stuffing attacks, they usually use stuff like 2CAPTCHA or anti-CAPTCHA, or you can pay to get CAPTCHA solved by actual people and stuff where like third world countries. CAPTCHAs allow companies were allowing balance checks on gift cards through the web API. And CAPTCHAs make it harder for bots to send automated requests. A good example of this is NCR, where they have multiple clients and they expose their web API by accident. Using this, all you need is a gift card number, and you can check the balance very easily. CAPTCHAs add additional steps to perform an attack, and it reduces the speed of automation. It forces the attacker to pay for a CAPTCHA solving service, and it slows down attacks significantly. If you're checking gift cards and you require PIN to check the balance, you would need 10,000 requests to just find the balance of 1 gift card. And it would cost the attacker over $20 just to check the balance of 1 gift card automatically. Rate limiting limits the number of requests from a specific IP address within a certain amount of time. This makes the most sense to do because you don't have to set up CAPTCHAs and you don't have to make users spend more time just to log on to your website. Companies can use this to limit the amount of requests and prevent bots from sending requests at a faster rate. Adding a commercially available rate limiting software can also prevent websites from slowing down due to bots sending a large amount of requests in a short period of time. A good example of an exposed API is a program called GiftCarder, where attackers were exploiting NCR system by using their web API, and it was extremely simple to do. Using this program, you can look at a large list of exposed vendors, and all you have to do is just open it so you can see the web API. It's using the card thing right here because it's the only thing it needs. It doesn't even need to parse any data or get any cookies, just like in my config where I had to parse the token. All it has to do is just put in the card number, and it'll get back the gift card balance simply in JSON. So even that's pretty easy to parse. So if I look at it now, it's going to give an error because they fixed it. But before, it would just give back the balance super simple. So if I were to give it to it now, it's going to give an error. But before, they could parse it extremely easily. It just said the card balance like that, and the program could do it extremely fast. You could get tens of thousands of gift cards with a high balance within seconds. What did I do after finding out about the vulnerabilities? I reached out to the customer service department, and in some cases the InfoSec team, on what I had found. I had to use HackerOne to submit the vulnerabilities, and I sent a screenshot of the problem I had identified. I made myself available for a call with the team, and I gave them the best solutions and fixes that I had, and I shared my findings and fixes that were needed. What's next for me? What's next for me is to continue learning about more vulnerabilities, security tools, and techniques, I plan to help companies with preventing fraud if I find anything new. I plan to learn and share what I find, and I want to do some research at UC. I plan to continue my high school for the next 3 years and enter a computer science program. And I want to learn more new programming languages. Any questions? Thank you.
Anyone want to ask any questions?
Thanks for sharing. How about for the gift card? What kind of algorithm that you usually find out that these specific numbers usually generate by this algorithm? Or do you have any suggestions? What kind of algorithm that should be used to get the gift card numbers?
For gift card companies, the best way to prevent any attacks would be to make it so that for every, for the online gift card checker, you want to make it so the 4-digit PIN is needed to check the balance, and a CAPTCHA would be needed to solve for every request. So it would slow down the attack significantly if they want to just check the balance on one gift card.
So basically, you're trying to prevent the brute force of for the attacker to guess the generator of the gift card number.
Exactly, and what these companies are doing is they're having gift cards with an extremely simple algorithm. So they have it so only the last 6 digits change. You don't need any PIN or any CAPTCHA to solve to just get the balance of one gift card. And what happens is you can check a huge list of gift cards in an extremely small amount of time because there's no rate limiting CAPTCHA protection or any PIN needed to check the balance of gift cards.
Any other questions?
I think just trying the content stuff like that, but I want to really understand from you, in your own view and opinion, do you feel the security fraternity is on the right path?
I think it's on the right path, but I think an attack like this is extremely hard to prevent. And it's just like, it's the website's main function is a login page, but people can just brute force it. And also, this is on the user's side, because the user recycles the same password on every website, and that website gets breached, and it's only the user's fault, and it's not always the company's fault. Because I think with Dropbox, they thought they had a breach, but it really was just a bunch of credential stuffing attacks, and attackers got access to other users' accounts, and the users believed that it was an actual breach.
Any other questions? All right, great. Thank you.